Shit's cool. If y'all pull up while I'm with the homies, don't get intimidated. They called y'all to come. I'm going home.
Stop scrolling, because whatever people thought this situation was, it just took a cold turn. What started as excitement, whispers, and soft launch energy has now flipped into something much darker. Fans are saying Cardi B looks blindsided, emotional, and completely caught off guard after Stefon Diggs suddenly switched up. And the timing? That's what hurts the most. Just weeks ago, everything looked aligned, subtle appearances, energy that felt intentional, the kind of vibe that says this isn't just fun. But now? Stefon Diggs is moving distant, quiet, detached. And fans noticed immediately, because when a man who was once warm goes silent, it's never accidental. But here's where the story gets messy. It's not just about Stefon pulling back. It's about the shadow that never really left, his ex. According to online chatter, the past didn't stay in the past. It lingered, watched, waited. And now people are saying she's stepping back into the picture at the exact moment things started cooling off with Cardi B. Coincidence? Fans don't think so. Because this isn't the first time Cardi has found herself emotionally invested while someone else keeps one foot out the door. And watching it happen again, quietly, without drama, without a blow-up, is what's making people uncomfortable. No public argument, no headlines, just distance. And distance hurts more than rejection when you don't see it coming. Sources close to the situation say Cardi B didn't expect this shift. That's what makes it sting. She didn't sign up for confusion, she didn't sign up for half energy, and she definitely didn't expect old ties to suddenly matter again once things started feeling real. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs hasn't explained anything. No clarification, no reassurance, just silence. And silence in situations like this is loud. Fans are now split, some blaming Stefon for never being fully available, others warning Cardi that unresolved exes always resurface when commitment is required. But everyone agrees on one thing. This doesn't feel mutual anymore. And when love stops feeling mutual, someone always ends up hurt. So the real question is this: did Stefon Diggs ever plan to go all in? Or did the moment things got serious, he retreat back to what was familiar? Because if his ex isn't done, that means Cardi B was never the only one in the room. Hashtag celebrity drama, hashtag relationship tea, hashtag cold energy. What made this situation sting wasn't a headline or a breakup announcement. It was the sudden change in energy. Fans didn't need confirmation because the signs were subtle but consistent. One day, everything felt warm and intentional. The next? Quiet. Short responses. Distance. And when that happens, people know something's wrong long before anyone admits it. That's exactly what viewers started noticing with Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. At first, the vibe felt mutual. The kind of connection where two people seem aligned. Not rushed, not messy, just present. Fans picked up on it immediately because Cardi doesn't fake energy. When she's excited, it shows. When she feels safe, it shows even more. That's why the shift was so noticeable when things went quiet. Suddenly, Stefon wasn't moving the same. Less engagement, less visibility, less reassurance. And that's the kind of pullback that hits hardest when no explanation comes with it. Because confusion eats at you more than rejection ever could. People close to Cardi say she didn't expect the distance, not because she assumed permanence, but because the connection felt honest. And when honesty turns cold without warning, it leaves you questioning everything you thought was building. Fans also started connecting another dot. The timing of the pullback lined up with renewed chatter about Stefon's ex. Nothing confirmed, nothing official, just a pattern that felt familiar to anyone who's ever watched unresolved history resurface at the worst possible time. Because when someone isn't fully healed, the past doesn't need an invitation. It shows up when commitment starts to feel real. And this is where the narrative gets uncomfortable. Because it's not about blame, it's about availability. People began asking whether Stefon Diggs was ever fully present, or whether he was enjoying the moment without preparing for what came next. Because emotional distance doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from internal conflict, from unfinished business, from someone realizing they're not ready to give what the other person deserves. Meanwhile, Cardi B hasn't said much, but her silence feels heavy. Not dramatic, not performative, just disappointed. And fans recognize that energy immediately. It's the energy of someone who didn't expect to be left guessing. Someone who didn't ask for promises but expected clarity. And when clarity doesn't come, the heartbreak hits differently. Now the conversation online has shifted. Or it's no longer are they together? It's, why did he pull back when things felt real? And until Stefon addresses the change, if he ever does, the questions will keep stacking. Because silence doesn't calm speculation. It feeds it. Right now, all anyone knows for sure is this. The warmth faded. The distance grew. And someone's past may not be finished writing its chapter. Hashtag celebrity relationships, hashtag energy shift, hashtag unfeeny. This is the part fans can't ignore anymore. Because the moment Stefon Diggs went cold, the past didn't just whisper, it showed up. And no one is saying names recklessly, but the pattern feels familiar to anyone who's watched this play out before. When someone pulls back without explanation, it's usually because something old suddenly feels unfinished. And that's exactly what people believe is happening here. The online chatter exploded the second fans noticed subtle shifts tied to Stefon's ex. Not a public announcement, not a hard launch, just enough movement to suggest the door was never fully closed. Old connections don't need grand gestures. Sometimes it's just a conversation, a check-in, a reminder of comfort. And when comfort shows up, new energy starts to feel risky. That's why this hurts Cardi B the most. Because from the outside, it looks like she stepped into something mid-chapter. No warning label, no disclosure, just vibes that felt present, until they weren't. And when a man retreats emotionally, it's rarely about the woman in front of him. It's about the story he hasn't finished behind him. Fans are saying the ex isn't done because the timing doesn't lie. The distance didn't come after drama. It didn't come after conflict. It came right when things started feeling real. That's when unresolved history gets loud. People close to the situation claim Stefon Diggs didn't anticipate how quickly emotions would deepen. And instead of leaning in, he defaulted to what was familiar. That doesn't mean betrayal. It means hesitation. And hesitation is dangerous when someone else is already emotionally invested. Meanwhile, Cardi is being watched closely, not for what she says, but for how she moves. She hasn't lashed out. She hasn't thrown subs. She hasn't played victim. That silence isn't weakness. It's restraint. And fans respect it because they know Cardi speaks when she's ready, not when pressure tells her to. Still, you can feel the disappointment behind the quiet. See the kind that comes from realizing you may have been more open than the other person was capable of matching. This is why the ex matters. Not because she's winning, but because she represents unfinished business. And unfinished business always complicates new beginnings. Right now, the biggest question isn't whether Stefon goes back. It's whether he was ever fully present to begin with. Because you can't build something solid when someone's heart keeps checking the rearview mirror. For Cardi B, the decision ahead is clear but painful. Wait for clarity. Or walk away before confusion turns into heartbreak. Because when someone turns cold without explanation, the message is already there, even if the words never come. Or hashtag celebrity tea, hashtag unfinished business, hashtag know your worth shed business. Here's the part nobody likes to talk about, because silence doesn't sound cruel, but it feels that way. When Stefon Diggs didn't say anything, didn't clarify, didn't reassure, didn't explain, the damage quietly multiplied. Because rejection at least gives you something solid to stand on. Silence leaves you floating in doubt, and that's where Cardi B appears to be right now. Not angry, not explosive, just hurt. People keep expecting a reaction from her, a rant, a post, a line in a song, but that hasn't come. And fans are realizing why. This isn't the kind of situation that calls for noise. It's the kind that forces you to sit with the truth you didn't want to see. Someone pulled back because they weren't ready to show up the way you were. Silence is a choice. And when someone chooses silence, they're choosing to protect themselves, not the person they're leaving confused. That's why this moment is hitting so hard, because Cardi didn't ask for labels or promises. She asked for presence. And the moment things required consistency, the energy shifted. That's when people started saying this wasn't about another woman. It was about emotional availability. A man can like you, enjoy you, be drawn to you, and still not be ready to stay. That's the part that breaks hearts quietly, when affection exists but commitment doesn't. And watching Cardi process that without spectacle is what's making fans rally around her. Because this isn't drama. It's disappointment, layered with restraint. What's also becoming clear is that unresolved history doesn't just block new love. It delays honesty. Instead of saying, "I'm not ready," distance does the talking. Instead of closure, you get confusion. And instead of clarity, you get a slow fade that leaves the other person questioning themselves. That's the danger zone. Because when someone goes cold without explanation, you start filling in the blanks, wondering what you did wrong, what changed, what you missed. And that internal spiral hurts more than a clean break ever could. Fans are now saying the quiet part out loud. If someone wanted to be there, they would be. No mixed signals, no sudden coldness, no unexplained distance, just presence. And that's why this moment feels like a turning point for Cardi. Not because she lost something, but because she's being shown what she won't accept anymore. Silence might sting now, but it's also information. Clear, uncomfortable, unnecessary. Because love that leaves you guessing isn't love that lasts. Hashtag emotional availability, hashtag know your worth, hashtag silent treatment. This is the moment where everything becomes clear. Not because someone finally speaks, but because choices do. When silence stretches on, it stops being confusion and starts being information. And right now, that information is loud enough for Cardi B to hear without a single word being said. Here's the truth fans are landing on. Cold energy is an answer. Not the one you want, not the one you deserve, but the one you need to accept before you lose yourself trying to interpret it. For Cardi, the heartbreak isn't about losing a person. It's about losing the idea of what this could have been. Because when someone pulls back at the exact moment things require steadiness, it tells you everything about their readiness. And that's not an insult, it's a reality check. Meanwhile, Stefon hasn't corrected the narrative, he hasn't offered clarity, he hasn't stepped forward to say this is where I stand. And when someone leaves the door open like that, it's usually because they don't want to close any options, not because they're protecting your feelings. That's the part people don't like admitting. Because ambiguity benefits the person who's unsure, not the one who's invested. Fans are saying the smartest move here isn't confrontation, it's distance. Not dramatic distance, not bitter distance, quiet distance. The kind that protects your peace and preserves your dignity. The kind that says, I'm not going to chase clarity from someone who won't offer it freely. And if Cardi chooses that path, it won't be a loss. It'll be a reset. Because walking away from confusion isn't giving up. It's choosing self-respect. It's refusing to compete with someone's past. It's recognizing that love shouldn't feel like a guessing game, especially not for someone who knows her worth and has lived enough life to recognize half energy. This moment could have gone differently. It could have been honest sooner. It could have been clearer. It could have been kinder. But since it wasn't, the ending doesn't need drama to be powerful. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. No explanation, no sub, no spectacle. just movement forward. If there's one thing fans know about Cardi B, it's this. She doesn't stay where she's not valued. She may feel it. She may grieve the idea, but she doesn't settle for uncertainty. And that's why this story might not end in heartbreak. It might end in boundaries. Because when someone turns cold, the warmest thing you can do for yourself is walk away with your head high. Hashtag know your worth. Hashtag power move. Hashtag choose clarity.